What do the SEC quarterback rankings look like according to your boy? We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. First, I want to pose this question out there to the YouTubers that follow us here. Where would you rank John Mateer if you were going to rank the SEC quarterbacks? Because you might rank it a little bit differently than me. You might think I'm too high. You might think I'm too low. Yell at me in the comment section. I love to hear it. I love to see your opinions and your feedback. So Jay, tell me how you want to go about this, because I spent a lot of time putting together this list. I reached out to some of our SEC folks here on the Locked On Network to get their takes on it, get their opinions, because apparently I was way too high on Zach Calzada. Because, I mean, I saw what he did in Incarnate Word, had some visions of Cam Ward, and thought, oh, man, maybe this guy's going to be pretty good. But I had to be reminded that he had some stinko time in the SEC prior. What was most surprising to you about this list, Jay?
So I think the one that jumped out to me the most is that you did have John Mateer ranked fourth with the poster child of college football behind him at fifth. I was a little shocked there. Now, I get why you did it. Garrett Nussmeier definitely is your number one right now because he's one of the incumbents. Along with Lenore Seller, the two that really played a full season. We don't know about DJ Lagway as far as health-wise, but I think that he has a chance of really showing up and showing out. But I want to know, is it because John Mateer is hardcore about pineapples on pizza where you had to give him the nod into a top 5 spot?
Got to give my man the pineapple bump because I'm a pineapple pizza guy since thanks to my mom and dad. Big pineapple, Canadian bacon, and jalapeno. Get it all together. The sweet, the spicy, the salty. Chef's
all in one spot. Just savory, just right there. That is a fantastic thing, John. And I'm glad that you accept that in your life, right? I'm glad that your parents introduced you to such a delicacy, such a great dish to enjoy, even outside of Hawaii. It's a fantastic, it just comes together perfect. Like you said, it gives you all three phases of the pizza flavor that you could possibly look for. And John Mateer is one of those guys that defends it. He tweeted out, pineapple belongs on pizza. And gosh darn it, man, you are right. Because it does. And to me, that definitely bumps him up in the top 5. But no, on a serious note, John Mateer accounted for 3,900 yards last season. Granted, the competition, whatever you want to say. I mean, he did play Washington. He played against Oregon. He played Boise State. He played against some good teams, too. He put up numbers. He showed that he could put up numbers. And if you don't think that that's going to translate next level, then you obviously didn't watch Cam Ward play, right? Like, we saw what Cam Ward was able to do. What he did in Incarnate Word, the couple of years at Washington State showed up, and then he did it at Miami again. He kept it going. Granted, the Washington State stints made me stop, picking him late in the season because it kind of fell apart, but that's not the point. He went to Miami and put in work. If he had a defense, they would have been in the playoffs. So Mateer's going to walk in with a similar game, but way more mobile to where I can see him showing up. But having Arch, Nico, and Diego behind him was a very interesting choice. You had Jackson Arnold a lot higher than I would have expected at 9.
And some of that comes to my own personal bias for Jackson Arnold. Still love me some Jackson Arnold. I'm sorry, man. I will ride the Jackson Arnold train until he's no longer playing college football. I'm going to still believe because the arm talent is there. The dude's got the arm talent. And all it takes is just one season to turn things around. No, but really, a lot of it comes down to look at the quarterbacks that are kind of behind him. You don't really know what you're going to get with those guys. So, Jackson Arnold at number 9, and then it comes to Marcel Reed at 10. I like Marcel Reed as a runner. I just don't trust him as a passer yet. And then you got Blake Shapen at 11. Have we not seen enough of the Blake Shapen show at this point? I mean, Oklahoma fans are very well acquainted with Blake Shapen, a solid quarterback, nobody that you feel like is going to carry you to anything. Maybe he's better than I'm giving him credit for. Then you got Gunnar Stockton, again, somebody that he started a college football playoff game, but he was just kind of okay. And he's going to be in a position battle this offseason. Austin Simmons, the Ole Miss people are really excited about him. He just hasn't played a lot. Ty Simpson, again, a guy that people think highly of, but he's going to be in a quarterback battle. And you listen to some of the SEC folks talk, and it's like one bad game, and he could be right out of there. Bo Prabula, dude with a lot of talent. He just hasn't been a starter. So we'll see. And then Zach Calzada, again, a productive year at Incarnate Word, but 2 previous stints in the SEC, and it didn't really go well for him. So, but when it comes to Mateer and Arch, a lot of it just comes down to, is Arch Manning actually going to be able to live up to the hype? Is he going to be able to live up to the monster that is already dubbed him as the Heisman Trophy favorite, Texas as the number 1 team in 2025? Is he going to be able to live up to all that? Now, if he does, and he goes and he puts together a great season, and Texas is right there in the SEC title game, and they're a college football playoff fixture, then I will bump him up and much higher. I just want to see it first, right? And this is what got me caught off sides last year with Jackson Arnold, right? Is I was projecting out what I had seen from the kid in relief roles and thought, okay, he's ready to roll. Now, Arch Manning might be better than Jackson Arnold, and probably he is. Actually, he is better than Jackson Arnold. That's why he's ranked higher here. Okay, but is he going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC? We'll see. I think he has all the potential to be the best quarterback in college football. But until we see it, is it right to put him as the best quarterback in the SEC or above a guy that had 44 total touchdowns last year? I don't think it is.
That's where the tough part comes in. It's
potential meets production. It's
right.
I'm trying to merge both. What have you done versus what can you do? And it's a hard thing to do. And so I'm trying to give Arch a little bit of credit. That's why he's not down there with Jackson Arnold and the Austin Simmons and those guys that haven't really played a lot. I do respect the talent. I just want to see him do it for a full season as the guy, not in relief of Quinn Ewers.
No, I totally agree with that. And it kind of makes me think about, what was that? The Georgia game that he came in. The first one, not the conference championship game. He came in because they benched Quinn because Quinn was making some pretty awful mistakes. And then he goes out there and it wasn't much better at all. And they had to go ahead and switch right back. Yeah. I think that he'll learn from that. So that's not, of course. I don't think that's very much of a concern. But at the same time, I totally agree with you here that I need to see this production on the field happen first. The Mississippi State game and ULM, sure. Louisiana Monroe, you got to go out there and really cook or whatnot. You got to play in a lot of the warm-up games of the season. But that Georgia game was the one where I was just like, ooh, I don't think he's ready yet. Now, granted, he may have a better opportunity than the other Manning family members to be able to go out there and actually, play for a title. I mean, Peyton got close. He didn't. The next year, T. Martin goes in and wins national championship for Tennessee. So, some people like that. It kind of depends on how you feel. But the question's going to be, as you mentioned in your article, what does that offensive line look like for Texas with so many of them going out? And how do those young players step up and become that good? Of course, they're going to hype him. Totally understand that. But we've got to see if he's going to be protected. But then looking at Garrett Nussmeier is the one still to me that I think it's fascinating that everyone believes that he is anywhere near the status of a Jaden Daniels. Yeah. I don't see it in him. I think he's a solid quarterback. I don't see Joe Burrow. I don't see Jaden Daniels. I see a quarterback that can play, that we just hope that his head coach doesn't hold him back.
Yeah, I think the thing that impressed me the most was just the way he bounced back after getting crushed in the OU game. Like, I really thought he was done. And everybody did. Everybody saw him get hit, and he laid on the ground, and he walked off the way he walked off. And you're like, that's a collarbone. He's done for the season. Like, he's not coming back. Oklahoma's going to win this game. No big deal. My man showed back up and took it to another level. He basically finished Oklahoma, like, in just a couple throws. And to me, that bought a lot of goodwill with me, just because I saw the toughness, the ability to bounce back from a a really, really hard hit. Like he got hit so hard that I went, oh, as I was watching on my screen in my living room. And the fact that he came back from that, it just shows you the kind of player that he is. So, and I respect the yardage. Like the yardage totals were huge. If LSU had any kind of a defense, or at least a better defense last year, they're a playoff team. But their defense kind of let them down in some games. And so, and did Nussmeier play perfectly? No. But I think what this shows more than anything is that the SEC is actually way more wide open than people want to give it credit for.
Agreed.
You look at the top, and I don't feel great about any team at the top of the SEC. And I'm not sitting here saying Oklahoma's going to go win it, but if you're just looking at it from a outsider's view, outside of Georgia, and that's more out of respect for what they did in their back-to-back national title run, outside of that, who do you love?
That's a good question. I think the only team that I'm really looking at is LSU right now. And it's only because they're bringing back their quarterback that could be considered the best one in the conference. But South Carolina's got to show me something. Well, Kyle Kennard's gone, but you still got Dylan Stewart. What does the rest of that defensive line look like? You got Nico Harbor as well as Lenore Sellers. Rocket Sanders, is he gone? I think he's gone as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they look like. No, you're 100% right. I have a lot of questions with every team. It's time to start breaking down every single roster and seeing, what they look like going into this spring ball, which will be in practice in 3 weeks.
It's coming fast. Spring ball is coming fast, and screw all the people that want to get rid of spring ball and spring game and all that jazz. No, we want this. Spring practices are fun. We want fun in college football.
They're a blast, but we're going to have a conversation about that on the next episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of Locked On Sooners. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. That's the outro. That's where it comes in. got a little false start right there. Got the wrong signals from the sideline and put the wrong play in. So we had to recalibrate here. But that's going to do it. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow the show on all your favorite social media platforms at Locked On Sooners. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John 9 Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at Sooners Wire as well. You can also join us on the Locked On Sooners Insider Program by texting 405-817-6711. There, we'll take your questions. We'll give you insight that we may or may not share on the show, but we will definitely prioritize your questions for our mailbag episodes. So shoot us a question, text Sooners to 405-817-6711 at the Locked On Sooners Insider Program. But until next time, he's Jay, I'm John, Boomer
Sooner. Pew, pew, pew.
Boom, boom, boom.